Hello everypony, this is Rob Royale, and welcome back to another reading of Vinyl and Octavia University Days by DawnFade on FimFiction.net. This is going to be chapters 9 and 10. I'm actually recording this ahead of time, and hopefully having more videos since I'm going to be working a lot more soon, and that's going to be joyous and fun, and all that. My job is going to kill my feet. Anyway, I don't really have much to say in the beginning, except that I hope you enjoy. Link to the story is in the description. Go leave a comment on DawnFade's page, read along if you like, or just sit back, kick back, grab something to do, and listen. Alright, again, this is chapters 9 and 10. Let's get started, every pony. How did you... spluttered the cellist. Spoke to the student coordinator, replied the DJ as she climbed out of the box. But you... Told you not to do that, cause it was unlikely she'd last move in together? Vinyl grinned and winked. When did... Carried my stuff across town about an hour ago. I've never used so much magic at once in my life. She gave a slightly breathless chuckle, and Octavia noticed beads of sweat clinging to her white coat. Wow, I feel great! The unicorn made to take a few steps closer, but stumbled, and the cellist rushed forward to catch her. The sound of fluttering wings came closer, followed by a thud in the doorway. Sorry, Vinyl, said the light blue Pegasus. I held her as long as I... I'm sorry. Let me get the door. She quickly pulled it closed before either of them could explain. Further muffled apologies came through the thin door, getting quieter as the odd Pegasus retreated. Vinyl seemed to have accepted the fact that she could no longer stand, happily going slack in Octavia's hooves. This is cool. Isn't this cool? Okay. I wasn't aware that overexerting magic made unicorns delirious, muttered the cellist, half dragging her friend over to the freshly made bed beneath the window. I feel pretty good about things, the DJ informed her, nodding her head saggily as she was placed gently upon the covers. That's nice, Vinyl, giggled Octavia, as she turned back to unpack the rest of the white pony's possessions. The mare in question let out a low chuckle as she did so. You should walk away from me more often. Get some sleep, you silly pony, lest I start writing down what you say so I can bring it up later. Sure enough, within a few minutes, the room was flooded with soft snoring. Octavia rolled her eyes and dug into the nearest box. Unsurprisingly, she emerged with a stack of pristine records neatly stored in transparent cases and labeled with delicate consistency. After going through a second and third box and finding nothing but records, the cellist became exasperated. Did you even bring any clothes or personal items? She asked irritably. It didn't help that the only answer was in the form of a particularly loud snore. Deciding to shake the next box before opening it, she was delighted to hear the sound of small objects sliding around. If this isn't her personal belongings, I'll eat my bow tie. Sure enough, inside there were a number of little gadgets and miscellaneous objects. Of notable interest was her phone, a small, easily concealed thing as was common to unicorns who rarely needed to physically touch their mobiles. She rolled it between her hooves and activated it, seemingly welcoming her touch. Octavia glanced at the sleeping unicorn cautiously, then let a little smile creep onto her face. It can't hurt to see how many contacts is considered normal. I won't look at any messages, though, not unless my hoof slips. Her eyes widened as the names began to scroll. Oh my. There were hundreds. Although some were named That Dude with the Goatee and Red Mane Mare, there were still a great many with proper titles, far more than the Gray Mare had anticipated. Compared to her own meager list of 3 numbers, Vinyl, her mother, emergency services, she felt like an inexperienced player in a complex social game. Oh dear, I've accidentally opened her recent texts. Strangely enough, aside from some pony named Shady Sex Bomb, she was the only pony Vinyl had texted in the last couple of weeks. Where are her party invitations? Does she call them instead of texting? That seemed the most likely answer, but Octavia resisted the urge to look through the recent calls. What if she is as bored and lonely as I am? Oh, thank Celestia she found a way to have us share a room. Things were looking up. Curiosity satisfied for the moment, she carefully placed the various keepsakes and such upon Vinyl's desk. There was still a lot of unpacking to do, not to mention some shuffling of the furniture. A mixing table really shouldn't sit in the center of the room. The DJ awoke to a soft, deep, reverberating tones of a cello somewhere to her right. Raising her head a few inches, a magnificent scene revealed itself. There, sitting on the bed opposite her, half covered in the speckled orange glow of sunset shining through rain, was Octavia, eyes closed, absorbed in her work. Hoof gently guiding the bow across the strings, she struck a memorable sight, and in the waking days of the sleepy DJ's mind, that sight became positively angelic. Gasping, the unicorn finally remembered to breathe, and in doing so, unintentionally alerted the subject to her fascination. Huh? Those amethyst eyes flickered open and trained themselves on Vinyl. Oh, you're awake! Sorry, I always practice at sunset. I should have gone somewhere. No! Croaked the DJ. Clearing her throat and sitting up slightly, she continued. It's cool. Can you keep playing, please? I gotta do something. Octavia frowned, but did as she was asked, resuming the piece with the calm skill of a master. Vinyl slipped off the bed and padded across the room, giving the cellist an almost reverent berth. From the neatly stacked school supplies that had transported themselves onto her desk, she withdrew her sketchbook and pencils. Upon seeing it, Octavia's cheeks flushed red. Vinyl, I'm not very good at— Shh! Hushed the white pony, positioning herself in front of her roommate as if she were in a daze. And dazed she was, now exposed completely to the musician before her. Higher thought processes escaped her, instead replaced by an insistent, congenital urge to create. Together they sat, one reciting and the other creating, in the dusk bloom. As the most perfect of moments are wont to do, it ended too soon. The sun drifted completely beneath the horizon and broke the two ponies from their mutual waking dream. Octavia lowered her bow and stretched her suddenly aching foreleg as Vinyl looked up in surprise at her odd position on the floor. Why am I sitting here? She muttered, climbing to her feet and cracking her neck. You were drawing. The cellist gestured at the sketchbook, currently open on an image of a pony with a— You were drawing me? I guess I was, and you were playing for me. They frowned at each other. After a moment of silence, Vinyl snorted and started to chuckle. What the heck are we doing? She laughed even harder. I have no idea. Octavia burst into a fit of giggles. The absurdity of the situation only fueled their mirth. Not even a day of living with you and I already feel like I've been drugged. It's all downhill from here, Philly. The DJ tossed the sketchbook back onto her desk and climbed up onto the bed beside her friend. Oh, Celestia, why did I agree to this? You didn't. That's why it's so awesome. She playfully jabbed a hoof into Octavia's side, eliciting a squeak. Oh, what's this? A devious grin parted her lips. Nothing. Don't do that again. Saying that was practically an invitation, as the unicorn dived on the gray pony and brought her hooves in for full effect, rubbing and tickling her stomach with glee. No, stop, no, please! What's that? You trailed off a bit at the end. Vinyl redoubled her efforts despite the mare's struggles and hysterical laughter. Vinyl, I will kill you! With a mighty buck, she rolled the two of them off the bed, narrowly missing her abandoned cello and landing with a thud on the carpet. They lay there, panting and staring at each other, almost muzzle to muzzle. One wore a silly grin, and the other tried her best to muster a fear-inspiring glare. It wasn't working, as evidenced by a lazy white hoof drifting up and poking her nose. Boop, whispered the DJ. You will die by my hoof, the cellist hissed back, though she couldn't help the smile that grew across her face. Such a nice little mare, aren't you? I was. You've ruined me. Vinyl let out a familiar low chuckle, but remained silent, still wearing a lopsided grin. What? Octavia raised an eyebrow. Nothing. Just thinking about ruining you. Tell me, what's so funny? You probably wouldn't find it funny. Her mind raced, knowing that the other mare wasn't going to drop the issue. Only one way to find out. Tell me. All right, I was thinking. You think you're ruined now. Just wait. This is just the beginning. She gave the most evil grin she could manage for emphasis. Oh, shush. I don't think you're as bad as you pretend to be. Vinyl moved slightly closer, glasses masking her white eyes. Let me show you how bad I am, she said softly, heart pumping so hard she was afraid it might burst. Octavia followed suit, apparently interpreting the movement as conspiratorial rather than anything else. How? Have you got pranks planned? She giggled at the thought. Uh, yeah, sure. What am I doing? Was I really trying? Well, try not to include me in any of them. I'd rather stay off the university blacklist for as long as possible. Though I suppose now I'm sharing with you, it's an inevitability. She chuckled and brought her hoof up to tap Vinyl's nose. Boop. The DJ forced a laugh, her brain still reeling from certain thoughts. Yeah, pretty much. Well, if you don't have any pranks planned right now, we should get something to eat. All that getting tortured by you has left me famished. Octavia climbed to her hooves and helped her friend do the same. Good idea. Anywhere in mind? Vinyl tried to keep her tone even as she shook her head to dislodge some persistent mental images. Perhaps Blue's Tavern, for nostalgia's sake? The pair shared a warm smile. Sounds like a plan. In contrast to the chilly gray streets outside, the tavern was warm and brightly lit. Ponies laughed with their friends as they let the stresses of life trickle down the sides of their mugs. A group of hard-hat-totting worker stallions had taken 3 booths, including the corner one, so Vinyl instead led her roommate to a table on the less rowdy side of the bar. I didn't even know this place served food, muttered the unicorn, floating some menus over to the bar from the bar counter. It's really nothing extravagant, but it will do. My mother took me here once, when we came to inspect the campus grounds. Yeah? Sounds like you and your mom are pretty close. Well, to some degree, I suppose. Octavia picked up one of the tall menus and hid her expression behind it. What about your parents? Idly browsing down the array of greasy foods, Vinyl shrugged. They're lame. Kicked me out as soon as I turned 18. The cellist gasped, forgetting her own troubles in an instant. They what? How could they do that? Pretty easily, apparently. That's horrible. Who needs 'em? Besides, if I hadn't gotten kicked out, I might not have been able to move in with you so easily. Well, still. The topic slipped away as a tall blonde-maned stallion approached. How can I serve you? He drawled, accent offsetting his manner. Large hay fries and a deep-grilled daffodil kebab, announced the unicorn, slamming her menu down with more force than necessary. Excellent choice. And for the missus? Vinyl opened her mouth to correct him, already preparing a fake laugh to dispel the anticipated awkwardness, but Octavia spoke too quickly. I'll have a daisy salad, please. Another good choice, coming right up. Marching away, the odd stallion began to whistle, completely unaware of his actions. Octavia, you know what a missus is, right? It was the cellist's turn to shrug. A slang word for friend? Almost. Well, not almost. Not even close, really. The white mare couldn't help but chuckle. Well, what does it mean, then? Like, partner. As in, partner. Female partner. Oh. As expected, her cheeks flushed red with embarrassment. So now he thinks... Yep. Oh dear. I'm very sorry, Vinyl. Is there a dictionary or something where all these slang words are defined? I seem to be making this mistake often. Don't worry about it. You'll get the hang of slang eventually. Should I go find the waiter and explain it? The DJ sat upright instantly. No! It's not important enough to bother with, okay? Alright, it was just an idea. Silence reigned for the next few minutes, punctuated only by the ambient noise around them. Octavia felt awful, and had yet to stop mentally kicking herself. Vinyl must get so frustrated with me sometimes. Why must I be so awkward? Thankfully, Vinyl seemed to be tactful and polite enough not to make fun of her. Whatever she had done to deserve such a tolerant roommate, it wasn't enough. A little grateful smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. A better best friend she couldn't have hoped for. For her part, Vinyl was busy studying the table carefully, only because she had an appreciation for well-built furniture, not because she wanted to keep her mind from wandering. It did that enough already. The giddy feeling that spread through her every time she relived the waiter calling Octavia her Mrs. Seriously, Brain, shut up! It was a relief when the food finally arrived. They both dug in immediately, not daring to leave a moment for conversation. As her stomach slowly filled up, the DJ felt her mood improve significantly. That was why she kept having weird thoughts. Her brain was just food deprived. It made sense. I'm feeling good. Want to hit up some clubs? She asked, ignoring the glances ponies threw at her from nearby tables. After dinner? That's just asking for trouble. Octavia delicately pushed her plate forward and dabbed at her lips with a napkin. Vinyl snorted. You've had half a salad. You'll be fine. Plus, we don't have to drink if you don't want to. Biting her lower lip, the cellist fiddled with her mane before shaking her head. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm honestly tempted. However, I have a history lecture tomorrow that I would rather not miss. I guess I was wrong. You're still a nice little mare. She stuck her tongue out and the gray mare rolled her eyes. Hey, it's almost 8. We better get home in time for homework. Oh, ha ha. Though I really should get started on my homework. They stood up and walked over to the counter amidst giggles. Octavia carefully began to count out each bit until Vinyl tossed a hoof full of coins onto the counter and pulled her away with a grin. Pretty impressive, huh? The DJ raised her eyebrows behind the purple shades as they walked out onto the street. What was? Paying that much for the meal. I mean, I looked pretty cool, right? I suppose. It seemed like a waste, though. You could have saved those bits for the next time we go out. A white hoof smacked into a white face. That wasn't the point. Well, what was? The simple question hung in the cold night air. Vinyl looked at the ground, studying each step. I don't know, she muttered. Together they ambled into the welcoming darkness in which emotions could hide. Chapter 10. The weather outside may have been dreary and cold, but it held no power over the gray mare grinning into her pillow. She had the warmest of thoughts keeping her happy. Her friend, her best friend, was lying in a bed not 6 meters away, giggling quietly beneath her covers. The faint sound of beeping barely reached Octavia's ears, and as expected, a few moments later her phone began to ring. It was the third time this morning. The first had awoken her, and the second had made her aware of the culprit. The cellist reached a hoof out to her bedside and pulled her phone over, answering it with a blind jab. Hello? Tiny laughter reached her at the same time as the giggling across the room got louder. She waited patiently as the mysterious caller cleared her throat and spoke in a comically deep voice.
Is your refrigerator running?
Are you really doing this?
Ma'am, I really need to know. Is your refrigerator running?
I don't have a refrigerator. The dormitory kitchens are technically owned by the university.
Well, you better run after... hang on a sec.
The line and the room went silent as Vinyl attempted to salvage the situation.
Alright, is the university-owned refrigerator running?
I'm not sure. I haven't used it yet. The DJ ripped the sheets off her head. Damn it, Octavia! Sticking her tongue out, the mare in question slid off her bed and walked over to her friend. Well, that's why you don't try to prank call someone with the oldest trick in the book. How do you even know about prank calls anyway? Vinyl casually patted the space beside her, and her friend took a hint, climbing up and lying next to the unicorn. Like I said, oldest trick in the book. Pranks were featured in one of the university preparation guides I read. Granted, it was more focused on recognizing and neutralizing mischief rather than instigating it, but... How many of those books have you read? Maroon lenses flashed inquisitively. Octavia inwardly cursed herself for not waking up early enough to see Vinyl without them. A fair few. I got very bored, remember? Did you ever try anything to stop being bored? Reaching out, the unicorn idly started touching her friend's slightly disheveled mane. The cellist frowned. Like what? Never mind. I was just saying whatever, you know? Vinyl's voice shook a little. You can really be odd sometimes, Vinyl, she giggled. Why are you touching my mane? Pausing for a moment, the DJ's mind raced. Because that's what best friends do. One of the things, anyway. Play with each other's manes, you know? Really? What are the other things? I should start researching this. Octavia bit her lip and quickly stuck a hoof in her roommate's mane, making her wince. Easy there. You're not supposed to rip my hair out. And anyway, you don't need to research anything. That's what I'm for. I'll tell you everything you need to know. Oh, thank you so much, Vinyl. I wouldn't have a clue what to do without you. She leaned closer and planted a grateful kiss on the unicorn's cheek before hopping off the bed. Well, you'll have to start teaching me later, because I have a lecture soon. A rush of air swept past as Vinyl rushed to the bathroom door. I'm having a shower, she called, voice cracking as she stepped into the blue-tiled room. Okay? After a moment, the charcoal-maned mare dismissed her friend's antics and started getting ready. First, she would need to prepare the books and stationery needed for the lecture. Next, she needed to perform her morning exercises. Finally, as she would be rather sweaty by then, a shower would be required, following by the finishing touches. It was all a matter of not letting anything impede her routine. Awkwardness. Sheer, immovable awkwardness. They descended the stairs without looking at each other. Are we going to talk about it? Octavia ventured tentatively. No, replied Vinyl. But we never wear clothes anyway, so what's the difference? I was in the shower! It was an honest mistake. I was distracted and forgot you were in there. Couldn't you hear the water? I get very focused on my routine. Yeah, no kidding. The DJ pushed through the exit door and paused to keep it open for the other mare. Octavia smiled nervously. So, are we still friends? That seemed to shock Vinyl out of her righteous anger. What? Yeah, of course we are. Just let's never talk about this ever again, okay? Smiling genuinely now, the cellist nodded. Okay. Cool. Now give me a hug and go to class. The embrace ended far too soon, and Octavia quickly trotted away. Vinyl stepped back inside the building and practically skipped up the stairs. She didn't have any classes today, so that meant finding something to do until her friend got back. The university provided many different on-campus entertainment facilities such as pool tables, movie rentals, and social hangouts like the tavern, but none of them caught her interest. Instead, she trotted merrily back into her room, closing the door behind her. In a flash of magic, her mixing table, which had dragged itself over to sit by her desk, came to life and whirred happily, like a pet greeting its owner. Additionally, the bulky computer beeped into being, flashing various screens at the DJ. Plucking her glasses off and resting them nonchalantly on her head, Vinyl felt a grin tug at the corners of her mouth. There hadn't been much time or energy for making music lately, but now here she was with a few hours and the perfect inspiration. I hope these walls are strong. Within minutes of starting production, the window was vibrating from an extremely low, almost imperceptible bass line, like the forceful hum of an empty room. It sent tingles down the DJ's spine. She always started a song like this, just to get the energy flowing and to keep her heart pumping. It filled the room with a restless yet focused vibe, forcing her to always stay moving and thinking about the music. But something was slightly off today. She went for the usual tones, wondering how to give them new life, when a particular synthesized instrument caught her attention. Maybe just a test. At the tap of a button and a pulse of magic, a deep, ominous tone emanated from the speakers, a cello playing a single constant note. The sound quality was almost perfect, every minute scratch of the non-existent bow moving across the virtual strings captured in awe-dropping clarity. And it was good. It gave the bass a completely different meaning, now dark and scary, almost seeming to warn off approaching doom, contrasted with the energetic feel it held before. Vinyl seized the sudden realization and began trying a few different notes, simple patterns, nothing truly amazing. But when the music looped and played her new additions, she practically squealed with delight. This was something she hadn't even thought of doing before. Who knew such an old instrument would fit into modern tunes so well? The next hour and a half passed in a haze of giddy experimentation, as she brought in several other instruments from the strings section. The DJ felt as though there was a whole other world of music that she had been too blind to see before now, and it was all because of Octavia, as if she needed another reason to. The music was suddenly kicked up to an even higher volume, safely blasting away any and all thoughts currently battling through the unicorn's mind. She gritted her teeth and focused on the screen, but it was hopeless trying to concentrate now. With a sigh, she turned the volume back down to more reasonable levels. Those traitorous thoughts crept back in slowly, whispering possibilities and confessions that she was neither ready for nor inclined to confront. But they didn't care if she was ready, scratching as they did in the back of her head. What if, maybe... Damn it, go away! She yelled, slamming a hoof down on the table and making it shake. But the thoughts didn't cease, so she buried her face in her hooves in frustration. When would it stop? The chilly air sent her mind completely into disarray the moment she stepped out of the lecture theater. Sighing, the cellist vainly tried to restore order for a few moments before ultimately giving up, instead trying to focus on getting back to the student village. Ahead, huddled together near the mouth of the path leading to the apartments, were two mares, one of them a familiar mint-green unicorn who raised her head upon spotting Octavia. Heart beating slightly faster from remembered insults, the cellist tried to politely ignore them. "Hey," called Lyra. The other mare looked up as well, orange mane waving in the breeze. Octavia tried to keep walking, but a second shout followed after. "Hey, hold up a second. I really should get home," she said over her shoulder, slowing very slightly. "Oh, only take a moment. Jeez, you act like I'm gonna hit you." The green unicorn walked up and smiled. Her black eye had faded considerably, but was still quite noticeable. The gray mare forced a chuckle. "Yes, that would be ridiculous. Now listen, you're not a big fan of that vinyl scratch chick, are you?" Oh no, we haven't been discreet lately, have we? Did she see us together? Does she know we share a room? When no answers presented themselves, she hesitantly stuck to the plan. No, not at all. She, really gets on my nerves. Yeah, same here. She bothers a lot of ponies, way I hear it. A dark smirk split Lyra's lips. Up for some revenge? Cold anger crackled to life within the cellist. Revenge? She asked coolly. Revenge for what? The smirk faltered for a moment. For all the stuff she used to say about you in class. Name-calling and petty insults? Yeah, didn't she piss you off? Yes, but only until I left the classroom. She hardly crosses my mind at all outside of our psychology tutorial. I think it's rather childish to seek revenge for something so trivial. But I bet when you two were out on your assignments, she was even worse, right? The unicorn was quickly losing control of the situation, unable to deal with her unexpected response. Occasionally. But again, when she was out of my sight, I forgot about her. I refused to let such negative feelings rule me. Octavia stepped forward with a disappointed frown. But it seems you have done the opposite, Lyra. Rather than accept your petty feud with Vinyl as just that, petty, you're actually seeking other ponies to conspire with against her. Therefore, not only are you letting your hatred for Vinyl control your actions, but you're setting a terrible precedent for the rest of your life. Every time a boss critiques your work, or a passerby hurls an insult, will you launch a personal vendetta on them? Tell me, do you see that resulting in a happy life? The green mare's mouth worked, and her wide eyes blinked rapidly, as if trying to fend off the verbal blows. I don't... Why... You need to think about what kind of pony you're becoming. Think hard, because if you don't change soon, Bonbon won't be the only friend to give you a black eye. It was an educational guess, but it paid off, albeit only it was getting a response. Hey, you have no idea what happened with me and Bon, so don't bring her into this. Octavia bowed her head humbly. That is true. I apologize, but my words are still true, and you know it. Lyra wore a conflicted expression, defiance against acceptance. You should get going, Octavia. The cellist turned to leave, pausing only to ask, Will you think about it? Maybe. Nodding, Octavia walked away, continuing down the path beside her. The conversation slowly grew softer. Way to back me up, C-Top, muttered despondent Lyra. Way to get your flank kicked, Lili. Why didn't you help? 'Cause she's right. No, she's not. I'm not like that. Right? Even at a distance, C-Top's voice dripped with venom. You've told me to shut up 3 times today. I don't even know why I hang out with you. The very last thing Octavia heard was a very small, yet oh so momentous word. Sorry. She allowed herself a little triumphant smile as the apartment buildings revealed themselves. I must have set the line density record for a conversation, but it was worth it. An odd buzzing noise became apparent as she stepped inside the thin-walled structure. It seemed to come from upstairs, somewhere around room 10. Oh dear. Octavia's eyes widened as she remembered the significant amount of musical equipment in her room, all of which was under the supervision of a bored DJ. Oh dear. She bolted past a familiar odd Pegasus and into the stairwell, trying to climb quickly but carefully. About halfway up, additional sounds came into clarity. Violins, violas, cellos? That's an antique, you foolish unicorn! She hissed under her breath, picking up the pace. How dare Vinyl go through her most precious belongings? How dare she try to play her cello? And how dare she be rather good at it? Charging down the hallway, the true cellist skidded to a halt outside the door and pushed it open quickly, not giving any warning whatsoever so as to catch the privacy invader in the act. Out of the corner of her eye, she could see her cello case completely untouched where she left it, but her focus was immediately drawn to the second computer desk, which was occupied by a white unicorn. The music, it was all from Vinyl's computer and the mixing table. All of it, from viola to violin, orchestrated entirely from the computer. How could she possibly know how to combine them with such intricacy? It was a safe assumption to say that Vinyl had never sat through an entire piece of classical music in her life, yet here she was creating one. Where did such inspiration come from? Octavia's saddlebag slipped from her back with a silent thud against the carpet, and she slowly closed the door so as not to disturb the artist at work. Drawing may have been more than a hobby, and she certainly had skill with a pencil, but this was what Vinyl was born to do. It was obvious beyond question. Her posture, loose yet focused, her movements sharp with a precision of talent and experience combined, and her creation, awe-inspiring as it was, all served to prove that her cutie mark suited her more than ever before. As the song continued looping and changing, improving with every iteration, Vinyl became increasingly agitated. She would shake her head as if to dislodge thoughts, and occasionally muttered something to herself. The DJ suddenly turned the volume up to indecent levels, seemingly making the entire building shake. Octavia couldn't help but jump at the sudden explosion of bass, but there was no way Vinyl could hear her over the music. It was too loud to truly appreciate, and the unicorn seemed to share that opinion, turning it down once more. But she remained as frustrated as before, shifting in her seat restlessly. Octavia watched the blue tail sweep across the floor and back, almost hypnotically, synchronizing with the music unintentionally. In a flash, Vinyl slammed her hoof down on the desk with a bang and shouted, "Damn it, go away!" before stuffing her head into her hooves. An icy bolt of fear struck Octavia's heart. Vinyl must have seen her reflection and realized she wasn't alone. It was like being caught observing a private moment between lovers. No matter your true intentions, they would think the worst of you. "Sorry," she said softly. I didn't mean to interrupt." Vinyl turned the music off with a desperate-looking pulse of magic and spun around to face her roommate. From the surprise painted on her features, it seemed Octavia's presumptions were incorrect. The cellist felt as though reality itself was holding its breath at the wondrous sight revealed itself to her. "Red?" she whispered, almost inaudibly. "No, sorry, I wasn't yelling at you." The white mare tried to chuckle, but her voice cracked and ruined any attempt at nonchalance. Octavia took a step closer. I heard your music," she said, trying to fill the air with something resembling conversation, even though her focus was elsewhere. Red. Of course they would be red. No pony had red eyes, so of course she would have them. Vinyl looked uncomfortable from the intense, unblinking gaze upon her, but the gray mare couldn't stop. For weeks she had wondered about them and tried to catch a glimpse. Those two deep orbs that had eluded her for so long were now visible in their entirety, and they were beautiful. "Why do you wear glasses?" her own voice asked somewhere far away as she took another couple steps towards the unicorn. Now Vinyl was the one who couldn't look away, cornered as she was by the close proximity. They stood less than a meter apart, garnet reflecting amethyst. The white mare looked almost frightened. Without the shades to hide behind, there was nothing between them. Octavia reached and touched the alabaster cheek. The DJ felt heat creep up the back of her neck, and all sounds grew softer. Her roommate's coat looked so soft, and her hoof gently holding in place, as if she wanted to move, and as if she would ever want to move again. They stood for a moment, the room around them fading like a dream after waking. Worries and doubts flitted through the blue-maned mare, but those vague, mist-shrouded fears were burned away by the light from Octavia's eyes. For her part, the cellist had never felt more resolute in her life. It didn't entirely make sense, not yet, but it felt right, and after a lifetime of trusting, not but facts and measurable phenomena taught in school, she decided that was enough, at least for now. All that mattered was the last, slow step that brought them face to face. All that mattered was the DJ's shaking breath brushing against her cheek. All that mattered was closing the last few inches, and all that mattered was the kiss. Well, that just happened. Alright, that was chapters 9 and 10 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days by DawnFade on FimFiction.net. I hope you all enjoyed. Next reading should come out soon. I'm going to be doing some shorter fanfics in between these readings, just to space out a little bit, because I know not everybody is into the whole long fanfic thing. Some cute ones. I just did one called Twilight vs. Exercise by Japanese Teeth. Anyway, yes, that's about it for now. I hope you all enjoyed. Go leave a comment on DawnFade's page, and subscribe. Alright, see you in the next reading. Stay brony, everybody.